أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. This is study number 6 of the Ramadan daily Quran studies for the year 2023, compiled by Zahid Aziz for the Ahmadiyya Anjuman Ishaat Islam Lahore, UK. The topic of this study 6 is Hadith collections. The most famous and the first of those collections which are organized by subject is known for short as Sahih Bukhari. It is named after its compiler, Muhammad ibn Ismail al-Bukhari, who died in the year 870 of the Common Era. There are 5 other such collections, and collectively they are known as the 6 reliable collections. So what did Bukhari do? He found that there were a huge number of reports attributed to the Holy Prophet Muhammad in circulation. He tried to trace each report back to a companion of the Holy Prophet through the sequence of reporters who had passed it down to Bukhari's time. If Bukhari found something wrong with the line of reporters involved in a report, he did not include it in his collection. For example, there might not be a continuous line of reporters, or some reporter along the line may be an unreliable person, or one person may be reporting from another person, but the two of them could never have met one another. So in these cases, Bukhari rejected those reports and did not include them in his collection. Sahih Bukhari is divided into nearly 100 books, as they are called. Each book dealing with a different subject, for example, faith, prayer, fasting, Hajj, wars, marriage, divorce, food and drink, good behavior. These are examples of the titles of some of his books. Sahih Bukhari contains around 2,500 distinctly different reports, and another 5,000 reports which are variations of these 2,500 distinctly different reports. So it contains in all something like 7,500 reports. Other compilers of hadith were not as strict as Bukhari in checking the authenticity of the reports which they included. Sahih Bukhari as a book is known as the most reliable of books after the Book of Allah. In other words, after the Holy Quran. And Sahih Bukhari occupies a position second to the Holy Quran in determining the teachings of Islam. A non-Muslim Western scholar of Islam at Oxford University wrote as follows about the work of these compilers of hadith in checking the reporters. He wrote, inquiries were made as to the character of the guarantors, whether they were morally and religiously satisfactory, whether they were tainted with heretical doctrines, whether they had a reputation for truthfulness and had the ability to transmit what they had themselves heard. Finally, it was necessary that there should be competent witnesses whose testimony would be accepted in a court of civil law. And this opinion is expressed by Professor Alfred Guillaume in his book, The Traditions of Islam, published from Oxford in 1924. The compilers of Hadith tried their best to find out whether each report was actually traceable back to the Holy Prophet through the various necessary stages. They also checked the subject matter to determine if the report was sound or not. For example, if a Hadith report made it compulsory for Muslims to act on a certain teaching, but it was reported by only one individual from the Holy Prophet's time, then it was not accepted. There is another very important test whereby the trustworthiness of Hadith reports may be judged. And this is a test that can be applied at any time. And that test is as follows. If there is anything in Hadith which conflicts with the Quran, it could not have proceeded from the Holy Prophet and must therefore be rejected. The Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ himself said, and there are two hadiths which I will now relate in translation, there will be narrators after me reporting sayings from me. So judge the sayings by the Quran. If it agrees with the Quran, accept it. Otherwise, do not accept it. And another hadith report is as follows. The Holy Prophet said, "My sayings do not abrogate the word of Allah, but the word of Allah can abrogate my sayings." The great Imam Bukhari himself, many times in his Sahih Bukhari, quotes verses of the Quran before citing a saying of the Holy Prophet. In this way, Bukhari showed that the Holy Prophet's sayings are only a further explanation of the Quran, and they cannot contradict the Quran. And as Hadith is only an explanation of the Quran itself must have precedence over it. Moreover, both Muslim and non-Muslim historians are agreed that the Quran has been handed down intact, every word and every letter of it, while Hadith cannot claim that purity. Since the Quran deals with the principles of the Islamic law, while Hadith deals with its details, only those details can be accepted which are in line with the principles. Again, the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is plainly told by Allah in the Quran to say that he follows only what is revealed to him and does not disobey a word of what was revealed to him. The Holy Quran says, "Qul innama attabi'u ma yuha ilayya min Rabbi," meaning, say to people, I follow only what is revealed to me from my Lord. Chapter 7, verse 203. And again, Inna tabi'u illa ma yuha ilayya inni akhafu inna sayatu rabbi azaba yawmin azim. The translation of which is, I follow only what is revealed to me. Indeed, I fear if I disobey my Lord, the punishment of a terrible day. Chapter 10, verse 15. Therefore, if anything reported in Hadith clashes with the Quran, it cannot be accepted as a teaching of the Holy Prophet, because the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam could never have gone against the Quran. And that is the end of study 6. Barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Quranil Azim wa nafa'na wa iyyakum bil ayati wa zikril hakim innahu ta'ala jawadun karimun malakum barurur rahim.